So what about boundaries? Greetings, peace and love to all, peace and love. I just wanted to come on here real quick, about boundaries. This word boundaries, we throw it around, we hear a lot about it in the last year. And people say, you gotta have healthy boundaries about like where you let people like come into your life and how they move in your life and things of this nature. But this is what I've learned in my journey. Boundaries are great as you're learning to know who you are. Once you really like start to kind of grasp like how things work, they kind of are like more of a unnecessary feature. Let's just say it like that. At one point in my journey, my boundaries helped me to make healthy decisions because, sometimes due to home training, we tend to kind of become a people pleaser sometimes, some of us. And we lose our way in our decision making. And so then we make boundaries to say, okay, I can't let somebody do that to me because it causes this, that, and the third experience that I don't really want. So in order to prevent myself going through these pains and discomforts, I will no longer allow people to do this. Okay? So that boundary was set up because 1, you're trying to avoid suffering. 2, you're afraid of outcomes and results. 3, you're still learning how to love yourself. You're still learning what that is. And the ultimate reality is until you really learn better how to do that where you don't need a boundary, you will need a boundary. So when you're ready to start resisting yourself, when you're ready to listen to yourself, when you're ready and you have learned what your reflection is, what your reflection does for you, how your reflection shows up in your life, okay? Because you can set boundaries all day, but if you have a personality type where you draw people who like to push boundaries, people who are users, people who like to do the things that you say you got the boundary there for, if you're drawing all those kinds of people, it's because of your belief. It's because of how you're treating yourself. It's because of how you're loving yourself. And by that, I mean maybe what you aren't doing for yourself. Maybe if you're attracting people who you say don't listen to you, maybe you're not listening to yourself. You're attracting people who you say disrespect you. Maybe you're not really respecting yourself. And that may not mean that, I don't strip or, these are things that people usually say is disrespecting yourself, right? I take care of my body or, I'm not doing these things in the world that we judge as disrespectful to yourself. If I'm not doing those things, I'm not an alcoholic. I'm not a drug addict, I'm not any of those things. I'm not disrespecting myself. But if you're not listening to yourself, if you're not really listening to yourself, aren't you disrespecting yourself a little bit? Like, isn't that disrespectful? Like, I'm not even listening to my own self. Like when you don't listen to a parent a certain way, people say you're disrespectful. But do you listen to yourself? Like, so really, like, are you respecting your feelings? Are you respecting your emotions? Are you giving yourself time to feel? Are you giving your body time to heal? Are you giving yourself time to relax? Like, this is respecting your life. You have a body. And this body needs certain things like rest and food and care. And how is your eating? Is your eating respectful of your body, what your body needs, what your body needs? And not on some just judgment because, I had too many sweets today. But like, are you really eating too many sweets? And then why are you doing it? And that's a real question because, like, literally I had to ask myself that. So, when we talk about our experiences and where these boundaries lie, we need to also be mindful of what we're putting into our experience. What are we feeding ourselves mentally? What are we feeding ourselves energetically? What are we feeding ourselves physically? Like, what are we actually absorbing as we consume energy in our life? How is our energy flowing? What is your energy doing? What are you energizing? What are you attracting to yourself? And you can say, oh, I ain't a drama queen, but then you like to watch reality shows all the time. You like to watch all the violent reels. Like, you got it going on everywhere else. So are you really not drama? Is that really who you are? Because, like, what are you doing? How are you feeding yourself these things? And then, just our thoughts and our beliefs. Because sometimes we say, you know, I don't cheat, but I keep drawing cheaters. Okay, but do you believe that people cheat on you? So, again, and then you have a boundary of, I don't date men who are not loyal. And then you're waiting for this man to prove something to you. So what's really going on? Just draw the man who doesn't cheat, and you won't have to worry about that. There are those out there, so it's like, if you can believe it, you can achieve it. If you conceive it, then you can have it in your reality. So I just wanted to put this out here about the boundaries, because nobody really tells you this part. I mean, there's a time when you stand up for yourself. There's times when you need to say no. This is not saying don't say no. This is saying that understand where boundaries come from. And then after you get past the point of needing boundaries, what that becomes is just your decision and just your energy and just what you attract, which you're always doing anyway. You just start attracting different experiences. You just start doing different things, feeling different ways, and then you don't need to really have a boundary because you're safe. You're safe and you're in acceptance of life, and you're not resisting yourself, and you're not ignoring yourself, and then life becomes more of a flow and less of a fight, Anyway, I just wanted to put that out there because nobody talks about that. And there should be, probably a considerable amount of people who disagree. And I agree with your disagreement because it's true for you. And what's true for you is true for you. And what's true for me is true for me. And I learned that my boundaries put me in a box. They don't get me free out of the box. They put me in a box of fear. In some way, I'm caging myself in because the boundary means I'm inside and you're on the other side of the wall. So am I free? Is this making me free? Or is this just something I'm doing to pacify the moment? Is this boundary really a boundary? Or am I just choosing to not experience certain parts of myself? Am I just trying to run away from the part of myself who's afraid, the part of myself who needs some attention, who needs some nurturing anyway? Right? What is that aspect of me that wants the boundary there? And how am I loving and supporting myself into making this a real thing in my reality? Or am I just trying to prevent a suffering?